Teen wie gaan
Johnny Knight. Ja. Maar nie hoe werk die transport. So twee ouke twee spelers, so al pack. So 24 teken ons 12 packs. 24 tegnies tot 4. O, hier mense, tot 4 begin.
hoor, ek weet nie wanneer ek weet nie die tyd begin nie. Wanneer
Wat is hy jy?
het hulle fisies nou begin?
So hulle begin opbou.
Ek weet net of hulle begin het, ek het nie timers lank start. Want ek is nog besig om die wat kan jy onthou wat hulle scores was? Wat is er in hier se score en Johnny se score? Vir my is dit 5-1. 5-1 0 nee, maar dit so hulle sal nou 6-1-0 wees elkeen.
Welcome back, everybody. We're heading straight into our first stop 4 match. It's Renier Blanche from Bloemfontein. This is the infamous Johnny, or as stated on screen, Jonathan Knight on purple Luffy, green Luffy, and then Renier on UP Luffy. So seeing what Johnny decides to take off this, Zorojiro deciding to take, looks like a Sanji and Pudding. Yeah, 100%, just handing it over back to Renier. Renier should be now on 6 Don. As most of us know, this deck actually only starts to come alive after 8 to 9 Don, depending on how fast it can ramp. Renier taking a big swing of 8k into life. Johnny deciding to take for life. Both players now, actually Johnny on 2 life and Renier on 3. And Renier playing some of that spicy tech of the Doflamingo blocker, and the on-play says you can take a look at your top 5 and rearrange them in any way you would like, which really helps the deck, knowing and setting up the following turns and off-leader effect, what you can expect, and then just handing it back over onto Renier, leaving 1 Don up. As we know, this deck, as you can see there, the Trash can play Gear 2, also plays that infamous card, as usual, that we all hate, Gum Gum Giant. Johnny playing out that 5 cost Sanji and Pudding now. As you know, probably the best card for the deck, except for that EBO2 Luffy, still with 1 standing Don. Johnny deciding he wants to use the leader effect and use a Sanji and Pudding effect as well. Using that leader effect to return 2, gonna get 2 back, and then Sanji and Pudding effect. And now suddenly both leaders are on equal footing with 6,000 power. Johnny suddenly go with that 6,000 into life. Renier still has 3 life. Decides to take it. Doesn't seem like there's any trigger on his side. And then Johnny brilliantly plays out that new Zorro from OP11, resting that Doflamingo of him. And then knocking or KOing it with his leader. And now Renier, his turn, just taking a look again through his hand to see what he wants to plan out to stop Johnny from powering onto the next turn and just closing out the game. Renier taking his time, still deciding he wants to rest at 3 Don. Playing out the Uso Hachi to rest for Sanji and Pudding. Probably gonna, going with a massive swing into that Sanji and Pudding. Sanji and Pudding basically being the main threat of this deck, being able to restand a lot of active Don, and him using 4k to burn out to make sure that Sanji and Pudding stays alive again. Probably the most vital card of this purple-green Luffy deck. Johnny spending all of his Don probably for that Luffy. Taro, beautiful SP. Starting to return 1 Don to play out. Probably another Sanji and Pudding. Spells a bit of trouble there for Renier as Johnny now has a fully lock and loaded board. Just look at all that Don ramping now. Back on 4 active Don after he just basically spent all of it. Johnny's going to swing, it looks like, just 6,000 into Renier's 6,000 leader. Renier still has 1 Don up, can use that gear 1, or gear 2, sorry, and Rava decides to use a 2k out. Now going 7k into leader, trying to just get that hand smaller. That's 3 Usahachis down now. And it looks like Renier might have to start taking some life. Or tap it, playing another gear 2. So much swings coming out from Johnny. Going 6k into life and then taking that life leader effect now finally coming through for Renier. Such a broken leader. I know a lot of people calling for Gum Gum Giant or Linlin to be banned, but maybe the leader should just be banned.
Yes. Seen too many of it today.
Yeah, so much UP Luffy, a lot of Grape Luffy as well. In the top 4, there's currently 2 Grape Luffys and 1 then Smoke Rejuvet came through, and then the 1 UP Luffy that we're seeing on stream now. Renier deciding to take a 6 cost Sanji 2k. Now with 10 Don on field, now we can finally start to see this deck come alive in all of its brokenness, as a lot of people would say. Let's see what he decides to do. Might just be a Sanji angle, just play down that Sanji, heal your life up with Linlin, put that Charlotte Pudding and or Sanji and Pudding at the bottom of the day, or bottom of life. A lot of choices that Renier has. Deciding to go 6 into life. Let's see what Johnny will decide to do. Gives a 2k out there. Serenia's leader attack unsuccessful. Renier resting 9 Don. Here comes the Linlin. Just returning that 1 Don. Let's see what he will trash for it. Hopefully one of the bricks that this deck runs. Still Renier with a very big hand. A lot of choices. Decides to throw away the bomb. Play. Yeah, very good choice, I think, from Renier. Start putting those Sanjis and puddings back at the bottom of life. But still, Johnny with a very, very strong board. Renier only starting to ramp up now. We'll have to see if he'll be able to hold out.
Johnny has a lot of shiny Don. A lot of golden Don.
A lot of golden Don. We see these guys from Joburg. A lot of big monies. Let's be honest, most of these One Piece players are older Yu-Gi-Oh players. They don't mind spending money. AJ, you yourself as an ex-Yu-Gi-Oh player would know this.
An expensive game.
But One Piece as well, but much more pretty. Let's be honest, the artwork on
cards
One
look very
Piece,
nice.
100%. Johnny deciding to go 6 into life. And Renier just immediately trashing that 2k out that he got off the leader effect. Johnny going 7 into life again. Just keeping the pressure up on Renier to take that life. Trying to chip down. Doesn't look like it's a trigger. But Renier only, it seems like only 3 cards in hand, AJ. I'm not...
Johnny has a stacked hand.
Yeah, still, I think just... He has so much Don left. Still 7 Don left, if I'm not mistaken. Just trying to keep on crimping down Renier's hand, and Renier on 1 life left. 3 cards in hand. Will he be able to get out of this? Renier taking a long time just to make sure that he plays this optimally. Give a 2k, take for life. Decides to take for life. Unfortunately, doesn't seem like a trigger that might help him. And now Johnny can start to excel his hand, and I think there goes the rush Luffy down from Johnny, trying to close this game out right here, right now. So Johnny's still having so much Don left from that Sanji and pudding that he can ramp back, and he has the rush on Luffy. So still 2, maybe 3 attacks to come, depending on how he wants to play it. Renier only with 4 cards in hand. Does he have everything he might need? Johnny going 7 into life. Still 2 opened on. He erased that 1 for the Gum Gum Giant. But now the problem is, which I found out, AJ, as soon as he did that, he cannot use the leader effect of UP Luffy next turn. So yes, he might be able to survive this now, but not being able to know what's coming next for your deck might be the final nail in the coffin. Johnny just making sure that he knows, weighing out all his options, seeing how many 2Ks have been trashed. Both these players knowing each other's decks, knowing how many 2Ks there are in this deck. Johnny just weighing up all of his options, making sure that when he swings now, he'll be able to swing for this first game. Johnny going now 9, and Renier just scooping it up, knowing he doesn't have the cards in hand, and our first game goes to Grape Luffy. Rough game for UP Luffy, but we know, I spoke to Johnny earlier, and to some of the other Joburg guys, apparently this is a really good matchup for Grape as well. They can just put a lot of pressure very early onto the deck, get out those bodies. And I think as soon as Johnny had those two Sanjis and Puddings out, even though Renier could Linlin the one, it kind of was already too late. Johnny got the feel that he needed just to push through and close out game one.
Renier also didn't see any of his Don ramping.
Yeah, no
which
Don
took him
ramping.
a while to get into the game.
And I think that is the main thing. I think Renier needing to go, I've probably needing to go first, needs to see that Bond play on turn 3 to start ramping that Don. Maybe get a trigger where you can ramp a bit more as well. We know how this deck plays, and I think if you don't see the Don ramping early enough like Renier now, it starts to get a lot harder. But nevertheless, he's not out and about. We know he's been fighting his way through Swiss through top 8 and one of the only Bloom player left standing, repping the hometown very, very well. Let's see if both players decide to keep their hand, maybe Mulligan. Johnny deciding to keep, Renier deciding to mulligan. I think it's so much harder for UP to decide what you need, but I think what Renier needs to see now is he needs to see Don ramping. If he doesn't see Don ramping, I think it's just going to be the same outcome. Also, while these players get set up and playing their first turns, I just want to say what one of the guys on the group also now said is the balance of these top 4 is so good. It's nice to see that we have so many players coming around from all of South Africa, Durban, Joburg, Pretoria, Cape Town. We even had a player from Warmbad. AJ, I didn't even know where Warmbad was.
It's just outside.
Apparently
Just
it's in
somewhere.
Limpopo somewhere, but
Outside.
so many high quality One Piece players, and here we can see it, 3 from Gauteng, 1 from the Free State at least. And so much good players here. And then we see on Johnny getting that first searcher off, grabbing that Sanji and putting exactly what he needed. And over to Renier. We know Renier doesn't. We know he doesn't have a 1 or a 2 Don turn, which makes it very difficult for the deck as well. But I think Renier choosing not to give Johnny that going second turn so that they can go with Sanji and putting into everything they need. But it will seem like he has another searcher on that Nami, grabbing the Luffy Taro and swinging 7 into 6. We'll just see, he decides to trash the 2k Usohachi and not losing that life. Renier will draw now on 4 Don now. Hopefully we see the Don ramp that he needs.
Mr. Bond Clay.
He needs to see it, and he needs to see it soon. It's 6 into life. Johnny will take it, so both players equal now. We'll see 3, so we presume it's the Mr. It's the Dofi. Again, no Don ramping for Renier.
At least he can rearrange his deck a little.
He can rearrange his deck, but AJ in the same position again as last game, where he's seeing no Don ramping, and we just said how important Don ramping for this deck is. And we already know Johnny plays attack for this. He plays that Zoro, which rests it, and it means that that Luffy just can swing it, and then Renier has no defense. And then the pieces start to crumble. But like you luckily said, at least he can rearrange his deck now, which makes it easier for him.
He doesn't have to wait till 8 Don to rearrange it.
Exactly.
Maybe the next card is what he needs. We don't know. Couldn't see.
We hope maybe we need to see a God Thread, because we still don't see that Johnny has his stage. So we need to see either a very good God Thread on that Sanji and putting that just came down.
Also doesn't have the Don. He can still get the Don to play the stage.
Yeah, as we see, just such a good card. Look, they free Don. He played that Sanji and pudding for 2 Don. And now he has a 6k leader, equal footing again on Renier's leader. And now Renier needs to decide, does he take it, does he block, what does he do? Starting to go another 2k. And then we see Frankie coming down. Also really good card. Just getting another rested Don. So Johnny gets to ramp now.
He could not get the stage out. So if Godthread.
We need to see a
Is
God
in,
Godthread.
in his hand. It would not be a bad time to use it because he still has the active blocker.
And it means he can ramp, and we need to see some ramping.
I know I saw a Gum Gum Giant in his hand earlier, but couldn't make out the rest. Well, we know he had
We don't need Gum Gum Giant. We need to see a Godfrey, but we're not going to see it this turn. But we saw this. Johnny doesn't mind taking the life. He can go aggro next turn, but at least Renier hasn't lost a life now. There, finally, we see the Don Ramp from Renier. Now, like you said, that Gum Gum Giant in hand suddenly becomes a lot more useful very early. But remember, previous turn, Johnny also ramped. So now Johnny's where he needs to be in that exact 7 Don turn, playing out the Luffy Taro, probably playing out another Sanji and Pudding.
See if he has it.
Of course he has it. Of course he has it. It's Johnny.
Yeah.
It's Johnny.
He had it the previous round, he had it this round.
It's just...
Might have been that life he took.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that aura that he permits. And now with a fully established board, now he can get 4 Don back with those Sanji and Pudding. Absolutely insane card for the deck. And you see now he is there he gets the stage. Exactly what we said. Now Godfred won't do anything. And again we're in the same position as last time where Renier might be in a bit of trouble. But luckily
I believe he's gonna be on 9 Don next turn, right?
he should be on 9 Don, but it doesn't block the leader effect, AJ.
No, I know. But he could do a Lin get over Sanji Pudding at least.
That might be great. Or maybe because he stacked that deck with
he already knows how it's stacked.
He already knows how it's stacked.
Maybe he knows if he gets the Sanji what's coming next.
Well, I hope he knows.
Even an army blocker knows, but
Even
it would
an
help
army blocker, yeah.
the deck.
In all honesty, I would have already forgotten what was stacked. I'm not good with blue cards.
Too much to keep track of.
Too much to keep track of. Johnny deciding to go 7 in to life. Renier deciding now, does he block? He knows there's just one, technically 2 attackers left. If he wants to attack with the Frankie. Deciding to, he wants this, looks like a trigger. Deciding it can be Godthread. Deciding to keep what is in his hand. And now Johnny just using the attack of the Frankie, not doing anything, but just ramping that Don. So exactly what he needed. And then another ramp for Johnny.
Keeps the Sanji Pudding alive.
So that
makes it more annoying to get that off.
Much more annoying. And now it looks like Johnny will be on 10 Don next turn, which is absolutely insane as he went first. Just ramping so much Don, playing this and piloting this deck to absolute perfection. And now back over to Renier. As I gave Tristan in the previous top 8 round a lot of credit, we need to give Renier some credit. If there's a guy who can pull it back, it will be him. One of Bloom's finest ECG players. He also won the Magic event at the EGF last night, so if he can do the double whammy, that would be something to write home up, back home up to. Still have a lot of time on the clock deciding what he wants to do. Gonna tap 5 for Godthread.
Yeah, good.
Unfortunately.
Bit too late, but
No, but unfortunately.
Unless he has 2.
No, it wouldn't help because you see, the stage made the Sanji and Pudding, but that's what I'm saying. Sadly, the stage doesn't buff both Sanji and Puddings.
Keep one Sanji and Pudding.
Yes, sir. And just passes. Decides not to attack with the Mr. Well, there was technically nothing to attack.
Already has Gum Gum Giant.
Yeah, but deciding.
And he has 5 active Don.
Yeah, still strange, not unless in that small technical glitch. Oh no, he didn't swing with life. I don't understand why he didn't swing with leader. Resting with stage, making that Sanji and putting that very annoying 7 cost. And he has another one. Hopefully this is not a family friendly stream, but I want to say that Johnny's hands is on some other type of drug. The guy has everything he needs to see. Plays another stage. Now we're gonna buff another Sanji and Pudding. So now the thing is Renier can't guard threat. But more importantly, no, you can. It's 2 cost, right? Or just
There is
1
still a high
cost.
possibility Renier sees the Sanji and a Lindon next turn.
I hope so. I hope
Where
so
he can get
because
2 big bodies out and get rid of a Sanji and Pudding.
I agree.
And as well, so he has Mr. Bond that copies an attack of something and he can copy to swing into something else.
That would be 100% ideal. Johnny deciding to put on the Zorojuro. Looking at the top 5, you can add anything you would like now. You can add the EB Secret Luffy, maybe a 2K, another Zorojuro, because it states just the Straw Hat crew, not limited by searching just himself. Johnny deciding to use leader effect, standing to Don again, double Sanji and Pudding, back to 4 Don again.
It's all the value, no punish.
No punish. And Johnny is on that all gas, no brakes. Effect still has 4 Don to work with. You can use it offensively, defensively. Vanessa pressing 1 for that gear 2. Just amping his leader by 3k, making sure that he counters out of that. Another 7k swing. What would Renier decide to do? Still has 4 active Don.
Hasn't used the Gum Gum Giant. It takes the life.
Takes a life. Maybe I think he's saving that Gum Gum Giant for the following rounds. Gain 7 into life. If Renier takes this, I think Johnny might notice that his hand is in trouble. Another gear 2. I think my guy has used 3 gear 2s now.
Only 2.
Only 2.
It's 2 Uchashis.
Usahashis. Nice.
Yes. And 2 gear 2s in the trash.
And now for another swing. This time 8k into life. Renier has everything. He's gonna use that Gum Gum Giant unless it's another gear 3. I just want to say that it would have been very impressive. Deciding what to trash, what will not be as valuable for him in this coming turn. Deciding to ditch that red rock and draws 2 cards. And over to Renier. Now we can start to look at the leader effect. Now again the deck comes online, but you start
Might
to
just be a
wonder,
little too
isn't it
late.
a little too, yeah, exactly. Is it a
You
little
never
too
know.
late?
We'll see, but it's not looking good.
The bright side is Johnny has no active Don. No Gum Gum Giant for Johnny. But Johnny has a big hand, so a lot of counters for Johnny probably. Renier deciding to take that Sanji. So the thing is now, the Sanji doesn't get that effect because both of them are on 10 Don now. So what will Renier decide to do? Does he go offensive? Does he go defensive? A lot to take into account in this turn, as this might be the game-changing turn for Renier, or might it be his final nail in his own coffin. Starting to go 6 into the Frankie. I don't think Johnny would be too unhappy to let that go.
Johnny probably just has the right Luffy ready for next turn.
100% Johnny is...
Swings with Mr. Clay into the Sanji and Pudding.
And there comes a 2k out. Just looks like Johnny has an answer for everything, but Renier might have a sneaky beaky plan lined up here. Let's see if we see that Sanji. Oh, just a Lindon again. This is sad to see in a way. Trashing the Pudding. And you see, this is where that stage comes in so well. He can't bottom deck the Sanji and Pudding anymore. So now he needs to top deck the Zorojiru. At least he knows that he's not getting a counter, but just hands it back over to Johnny. One active Don, so we know that's probably a Gum Gum Giant. But Johnny with 4 attacks that we know of, because he has the Rush Luffy probably in hand.
I think keeping that pudding might have been a good idea.
I think at this stage it's a bit too late to even Pudding. Never mind. That's a very big hand. But at least Johnny or not Johnny, Rainier has 2 life again. But that Zorojiru just comes down again. We know he got it earlier of the other Zorojiru. And now I think he might be starting to dig for that EBO2 Secret Luffy. And there's 30 minutes left, just about 30 minutes on the clock. And there he just gets another Sanji and Pudding.
That's all his Sanji and puddings out of the deck now.
That's all of the Sanji and Puddings. But there is a chance that Johnny can go for Lethal this turn. Still 6 Don. Again, 4 swings. Using that leader effect. Getting everything he needs again. Sanji and Pudding effect. Johnny going for a big, I think that looks like a 9k swing into life.
You know what I just thought about?
What do you think about?
Might sound fun. But it is a blue purple deck. I mean, that would remove 7 out of 11 cross cards.
A lot of
What's
things.
a card that a clown deck plays?
Gravity Blade. Or Red Rock.
No, it's an old card.
No, I don't know, man.
Sable.
None of these deck play Sables. You gotta stop, man. You gotta stop.
We've gone rid of Sanji and pudding.
Yeah. Serenia decides to counter out of that first Sanji and Pudding onslaught. Again, still has 4 attacks. A lot of Don left. Going 8 into life, and now again that 8k, very good swing. Renia can't counter out. Takes a life. I think this might be game.
Still has an active Don. Might get some good cards from the Gum
We'll
Gum Giant
see.
if he
Decides to go 7 into life. I think he wants to keep that Don up for the Rush Luffy and 1 maybe for Gum Gum Giant. Renier thinking long and hard how he wants to play this out. The problem is if he takes his life, he has 0 life. And then Johnny can just go all in, deciding to pop the 1 Don for the Gum Gum Giant. Deciding to trash at Katakuri, and you see now again, we're in the same position. Renier can't use leader effect now. He doesn't know what's next. A third Sanji and Pudding being
what's
played.
better than 2 Sanji and puddings?
3 Sanji. There we go. We're just playing Sanji and Pudding Turbo at this point. Johnny's still deciding how he wants to play this. Probably not going to swing for lethal this turn, but I think we all know he'll have lethal next turn. Johnny's still debating what he wants to do. He's just going to go all in an 8k swing. No, 7k. My apologies. Into life, making it another 2k counter from Renier. Passing it back over to Renier. Again, he can't use the leader effect. 9 Don. Ivy needs to play on the top deck. Sanji maybe play out another Linlin, but it looks like he needs to use blockers. But also what Johnny did really good now is he left 1 Don that he has to take. So that effect from the Sanji that becomes a free cost is not in play now. Deciding to swing 7 into 7. What? Ooh, Johnny has so many cards in hand. Surely he just... I mean, it doesn't matter if he even lets it go. If we have to be honest here. He has 3 Sanji.
Yes, it's pretty good. Like, I mean, it does swing hard as well. So.
It does swing hard as well. Decides just to give him 2k and now giving him everything he needs. Renier still on 9 Don, but again, Johnny just saving his whole board, making sure that Renier can't chip away at it at all. Deciding to race down now the 9 Don for another Linlin. Probably going to bottom deck one of the Sanji and Puddings.
Get rid of another Katakuri.
But you see, AJ, I think this might just be game as Renier has 0 active Don for a Gum Gum Giant. Johnny has a fully stacked board and 10 Don to work with.
And he can still drop the Rush Luffy if he wanted to.
And he can still drop the Rush Luffy, which we haven't seen once this game, but not needed. And now Johnny can just start chipping away. 7 into life, 7, 7, 7. And now Renier 0 cards in hand. Takes that last life. And just attaches all of his Don onto Luffy Taro for a massive 17k swing. And it's GG's. And then that means Johnny Nates is into the finals of our EGF and Oracle Gaming One Piece tournament. And we'll let you guys know how the other rounds went. And then we'll be back for the finals.